Hello and welcome back to the Listening Lounge. My name is Nick Day, CEO of JGA Recruitment Group, specialist payroll and HR recruiters. And right now there is so much noise, it can be hard to be heard. So relax and take this opportunity to learn something new, because they say the quieter we are, the more we hear, and that listening is the secret to discovering the greatest of stories. Well, today I'm joined by an industry heavyweight on the HR side. His name is Ted Smith, an HR consultant who has previously worked internationally as HR director at GlaxoSmithKline, Wellcome Trust, and the MRC, and a number of smaller biotechs as well. Aside from consulting, Ted is also an author, and I was intrigued when I read several of his chapters on mentoring in his book, Human Resources A to Z. Ted has a different twist on mentoring. He says that he has 50 mentors, but rather than me tell you about that, I'd rather Ted explain. So Ted, welcome to the show.
Hi, Nick. Really well, thank you. So the simple thing about the 50 mentors is this. A few weeks ago, I just decided to literally go through my entire diary and try and understand how many people I'd been mentoring. And it was 53 in total, just in the past 6 months. And I think the simple thing is it's been a really tough period for an awful lot of people. For those that are working in HR and still have HR work, they've been adding, to their normal heavy workload by having to learn about furlough, how to unfurlough people, how to use various job schemes, in many cases to make redundancies, also to be hiring new people for work that's been changing from home-based, etc., and just sorting out a whole series of changing terms and conditions, pushing back when people are arguing about whether or not there should be a pay review at a time when some businesses are clearly making loads and others aren't. And then there's also a group of people I've been mentoring who've been made redundant. They're HR people. It's been tough for them. They're trying to find new work, but it's a shrinking job market. And it's even more difficult at the moment in terms of the way HR titles are so messed up in this country.
Now, you prompted a couple of questions I'd love to ask. So one is, you mentioned 53 people, which seems to me like a huge number. And rather than me assume what mentoring is, I'd love it if you could just describe how you manage 53 and what mentoring really means, and what does that entail?
Yeah. People think of mentoring as being a thing where you have to go and sign up to a massive scheme, having found it, sign lots of documents, sign confidentiality clauses, and then go through a process where you are maybe fast matched with 20 different people and you choose one that you can pair up with. Once you've done all of that process and all of the things, you're then expected to meet with them every couple of weeks, to have a formal review, to set up objectives, to bounce ideas back and forth. But that's not what I do. So instead, what I'm doing is I have what I call just simply loose mentoring, which is all of those people are people that I've known for many, many years, some of them, others for a relatively short time. Normally they've been in my team or worked with me at some stage or on a big project together. And all I do is I say, I'm happy to mentor you, to look after you, to work with you, to just check in with you on a regular basis. And that's exactly what happens. People get in touch, call in, and they say, Ted, I've got an issue. Have you got a few minutes? And then we get talking about it.
Okay. So if I'm listening to this, I mean, you, as I said, ex-HR director of some big companies like Glaxo. How do people get involved in mentoring? Do you need to get to HR director level to achieve it, or can anyone be a mentor?
Literally anyone can be a mentor. It is as simple as that, Nick. So I was having a conversation with a young graduate just completing a master's in business a couple of weeks ago. And I was helping her thinking about how she started to make the applications for jobs, what the differences were between taking on a permanent role straight away or a temporary role. And I said to her, do you mentor anybody? And she thought I was mad because she hasn't yet finished, college and she's starting to look for her first job. And I said, well, you can actually help. There's a heck of a lot of people at the moment who are trying to work out which degree to study for. So they're going through that whole process of filling out UCAS forms and all the rest of it right now. you've been through that. You've got 3 years of experience, having gone through university, that you can apply to those people and help them, and you won't know how everyone can look after each other.
Why should people think about becoming a mentor? What are some of the rewards that you've experienced?
It's because every time I work with somebody and help them, I learn an awful lot. I learn about them as an individual, but I learn about myself. I learn about the things that they're experiencing right now. And some of them reflect and remind me of things that I was experiencing all those years ago. But in essence, the key is this: by me, as an old man with grey hair, mentoring people and talking to them about the issues and the problems they've got, I learn about the current issues and problems that they have, how they see the world, and that helps me understand their world and be more inclusive for them when I'm next doing a set of interviews for an HR manager or a HR advisor. So it's about me keeping grounded in their world, which is many years away from my world. So it's I'm sure you have heard, Nick, some people talk about reverse mentoring. I've used that with CEOs, for example. So a CEO getting really confused about all the different new types of social media. One of the best things you can do is get a young person to sit in front of them and just talk about what the difference is between using TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, whatever the media is that's in the moment. So always there's things that you're getting back and forth all the time when you're mentoring or being mentored.
It sounds fantastic. Not everyone will be aware of this, but I reached out to you to join me on the show. Usually I get invites saying, can I be on the show? But I actually came to you, and I came to you because I do have your book. I have read it. Some chapters in there which are quite inspiring. So what are the kind of rules you put in place to make it achievable, to make it manageable, particularly if other people, are sort of handling and balancing full-time roles and parenting and everything else at the same time?
Going back to that word I called loose mentoring, and I think it's better just to spend a few moments on it.
Sure.
I'm not doing what those the big organizations, the institutions, when they run a mentoring program do. I'm not saying that every 2 weeks someone has to check in with me and we have to go through a process and we have to tick boxes and sort things out. What I'm saying is that when somebody needs my support and help, they get in touch and they just say, Ted, have you got a few minutes? And then we get together, these days on Zoom. It used to be in a coffee bar or whatever, and we just talk through whatever the issue is. Sometimes that might be as many as 20 minutes, other times 60, but it doesn't matter. It's just in the moment, it's sorted and dealt with, and then they can move on in their life. Last
question then for me, Ted, is this: if I'm watching this and some of the things you've said resonated with me as a viewer, what's the first step you would recommend that individual watching this now should take to start that mentoring?
Yeah, so there's two bits here. One is being mentored, and the other is mentoring other people. If you're looking for someone to help you and mentor you, then the simplest way of doing that is not to use the word mentor at all. It's to go back to somebody that you trust, that you appreciate, that you've enjoyed working with in the past, or that's been a great tutor at college, and just saying to them, hi, have you got a few moments? I've got something I'd just really benefit from your experience by having a chat through with you. So you take them an issue and you simply say, if it's me coming to you, Nick, I would just be saying, Nick, so the issue is this. I'd really appreciate your thoughts on it because you're a recruiter at the end of the day. I've got this new interesting offer that I'm considering, but I'm not sure I'm fully out of my current place. I think I've still got things I could learn if I stayed a bit longer. Can you just help me through that maze? And all I'm doing is asking you to just run some questions with me, talk things through, and then you will have helped me, because by expressing and talking about things to you, I'll go away thinking, right, now I know what I want to do.
Sure.
If it's the other way around, let's talk about it as me offering to mentor you. If I come to you and say, would you like to be mentored, Nick? You probably have a polar reaction, one or the other way. It'll either be, oh my God, that's fantastic, thank you. Or it'll be, I never asked, why are you even doing that? Oh, is there something wrong with me? So the better way, if you want to help somebody, is instead to say something like, Nick, we've just been chatting about your thoughts about payroll and how to change the recruitment model in payroll. That really was fascinating to me, and I loved having that chat. If you want to do that again, just give me a shout. Maybe next time we'll be allowed to go and have a coffee somewhere, or even a drink, if we're out of lockdown. But it's not to say, hi, I want to be your mentor, Nick. Sure. It's to say, I'm opening himself up. I'm offering you the opportunity of a chat with me.
Yeah, I love that. It's nice. And I think you've worded that perfectly. Well, listen, it's been an absolute pleasure, Ted, having you on the Listening Lounge today. Thank you so much for joining me. And remember, every good conversation starts with good listening. It's been an absolute pleasure. Take care of yourselves and each other. And I'll bring you the next episode of the Listening Lounge real soon. All the best.